Hey everybody, this is Rydo and we're back to another recording live stream of Hearthstone. Today is Friday, July 27th. I have a dangerous amount of no-dos in my system. Although, to be honest, a no-dos doesn't ever really seem like it does anything for me. And I need to get all of these daily quests done as quickly as possible. So, I see I have a challenge a friend, which I might need to get rid of because of just the fact that I don't know if I'm going to be able to get the... Let's see what this guy's doing. Spectate mode, I can't play because I'm spectating. This guy is playing a quest that'll... Yeah, let's go ahead and stop spectating. Yeah. For some reason my headphones don't sound right either. Yeah, so I may have to change this. I need to play druid cards, I need to play warrior class cards, and then I need to do tavern brawl cards, so let's create a deck to see if I can win one of these. Like, you get this when you just play, so I may not even care to win, frankly. What was it? The point here, when it was going to point out, and I'm stuttering and everything, is that I'm still very much not awake from the same situation I was 2 days ago. Maybe I've shifted it a little bit this time, and I'm starting at the right time or a little late even compared to warrior class cards. Let's do this. Warrior class cards. Just take everything really quickly, and I don't know, the only way I think I'm really gonna win the tavern brawl is if I get lucky and other people let me win. So, as far as because I'm half asleep, I think we're gonna probably run into a quieter game, if not a complete a quiet game, if not a completely just muted playthrough. I've got to play, but that doesn't mean I really have to talk. There's not inherently news that has to be talked about, but there is certainly news to talk about that I want to clear off these things. I did spend the time, since I've not been playing Borderlands, which is what I should have been doing, but I've been distracting myself with trying to learn to program in Python, which is very difficult for somebody who learned functional programming and also learned programming in C++, because it's rather different in a few key points. And I haven't programmed anything in a while. But yeah, I'm certainly not getting all the work I want to do, I should be doing, done. Let's go ahead and hit this, do that. We've got an article here from TechRaptor. The Good Old Games Japanese sale features fantastic classic JRPGs. It's pretty much an an advertisement, but their suggestions are Agarest Generations of War, Earthlock, Hyperdimension Neptunia Rebirth 1.
No problem.
Legend of Heroes Trails of the Sky, Wise Origin.
Please go away. I should beat you.
That's it, I guess, for the article. Trying to just... So, you know, there probably is a way to speed up the process. Just covering a lot of this news. I could just go with the headlines, like Gematsu has a headline, Picross S2 announced for Switch, which I assume is supposed to be Season 2, or just if I was to guess. The only other bit of information that needs to be known is that it's coming out August 2nd, and it looks like it's going to be worldwide.
I feel empty inside.
Just keep on playing cards.
Strike.
Job done.
So, TechRaptor has a follow-up, and it's always nice to get follow-ups. To the single game that that was being held back from being released on Steam. So TechRaptor's article, the adult visual novel Shining Song Star Nova, I recognize the name, is now available on Good Old Games. With this, it's showing me an anime girl dressed up, I assume, as an idol singer. Her belly is exposed, and a shirt that has a large star pattern cut out of the midriff. Not anything too extreme, but pretty big.
No problem.
So
The icy winds of Northland will
the
consume your soul.
article says that Shining Star Nova is a visual novel, elements with a management game mixed together. Let's watch the trailer. The trailer thumbnail had about six anime girl idols, all of which looked about average in the anime style, not extremely young or anything like that on the scale, or extremely underdressed. Quite frankly, from what I've seen so far, you wouldn't even know that it had any sex element to it at all. The animation style looks fine. And see, the weird thing about this game being held back is that several games now have been allowed. So I don't know if this is a case of some rogue employee doing something they weren't supposed to and holding back the game, or if a lot of things are getting held back and they're just only one company is bothered to complain about it, or what. Or if maybe they implemented a policy and then changed their mind on the policy. Yeah, this trailer is just showing you every single girl. They're all in the same outfit, basically. So the midriff is showing, which I don't think that's too much of a thing. I think I've said that before in Japanese culture. I don't think the midriff being exposed is a big issue as much as it would be in like the United States. I guess we'll just keep playing this and see, like, since I just need to play cards. The only thing was, oh man, if I had tried to challenge him right then and there, I would have potentially succeeded.
It's the festival of me.
Yeah, all this trailer is just
Victory or death.
is really just a small single images of the girls and text on screen talking about them. Yeah, it looks like there's 7 girls and that's about it. The second tweet from Shining Star Nova's developer about Steam delaying the release of the game is that they weren't given any timeline. And clearly it hasn't been cleared yet. The good old games version ended up getting some last minute censorship too, so this game is jumping through hoops to be on good old games, because yes, good old games specifically said they'd be willing to censor. So you can also buy it on Nutaku, and of course good old games and Nutaku have an affiliate thing. Yeah, there's just like nothing here that explains what the problem is. So now I've clicked over to the Nutaku link, and Nutaku is not shy about showing the goods, as it were. So its screenshots are immediately, like, as soon as I clicked the button, I was seeing nudie screenshots.
I serve the Fire Lord.
Yeah, but it still doesn't seem like there's anything too much to it. Yeah, I still don't see anything here that inherently says this is the one game that should have not been allowed on Steam. The thing with the thing with what am I trying to say? With Omega Labyrinth Z, that game, at least, like, it made sense why it was getting censored when you finally got down to what it was, and it kind of made sense when you saw that one of the main characters' animation style had a girl that looked very young, but that's not the case here. So yeah. So in some of what I was doing since I wasn't recording, I went to my wish list and put a lot of the AAA games I definitely want to play at the top of my ordered listing of my wish list. And as part of that effort, I decided to double check that I marked both Firewatch and Depression Quest as not interested. I'm sorry, but I'm just not going to cover games from companies that have in the past done content ID, DMCAs, or other things. If you attack a YouTuber before, then you're likely to do it again. So for that reason alone, I have to just not cover your game. Which kind of sucks because I do want to play Firewatch, but I'm not going to make footage of it if I do play it. And Depression Quest I can take or leave easily, because it's a free small game anyways. PC Gamer has an article, Samsung hires a former NVIDIA employee, could be developing its own GPU. Yeah, that makes sense because if their memory chips that get put into cell phones were merged together with a GPU chip, and you weren't using like ARM technology that has to be licensed, that would make sense. Although it could be that they're making GPUs for PCs or something too, or they're not doing that at all. You could easily hire a former NVIDIA employee for a completely different type of work. Game that's a little overhyped by the mainstream media, Anamorphine, is coming out July 31st. Anamorphine is a very weird looking game, certainly, in a kind of wild experience game. It was originally supposed to come out in January, so it's 6 months past its date, which inherently that's definitely not a good thing for what is basically just a small indie game. Let's see. Yeah, Anamorphine for the most part is this really weird, surreal experience looking game. I really can't even say too much about it. Let's see. See if we can catch this guy when he's almost done. I'm totally willing to play Anamorphine. I'm just certainly not interested really in it being overhyped as something. Alright, so do I really want to watch this guy? No. Alright, let's open this at this point. Game, at least they're being generous. Got an epic, that's certainly nice. They're giving you a pack even if you don't win that battle, because that battle is pretty difficult. We have a large pile of dust, and we have a large pile of gold. I guess I'm happy that the new expansion isn't happening right now, certainly, but also I'm a little bit upset with just the way things are yeah, I don't know what I'm saying there. Yeah, I've totally lost it. Let's just see if we can get into the important news, get all of that done, and then go on to a silent post show. The thing here is I need to try and stay awake until at least 10 o'clock. And I guess I don't need to be really mentally alert when doing this, but being in a half mental state where your brain is half asleep, which is what happens to me when I don't sleep for about 24 hours or 18 hours or so. Feels like half of my brain goes to sleep and having micro sleep moments. Gamer Sutra has an article. Apple promotes iPhone gaming performance with a new ad. I'm not really of the opinion that iPhone gaming was something that Apple cared about, nor do I think it is really in a great place to promote iPhone gaming. But I guess whatever. Here's a bad looking game called Sweet Girl Adventure 2. It's 40% off for 59 cents, closing that tab. The game Stonehearth is out again, which is weird because I thought it had already come out. So it feels like it has come out now twice.
My favorite.
There we go. Stonehearth is 42% positive of 247 reviews in the past 30 days, which is really, really low. Stonehearth was a Kickstarter, if I recall correctly, clone of Minecraft that people were into. It's $19.99, but I think they abandoned any support for it, and by doing that they lost all goodwill that they had. So I don't need to do anything with Stonehearth. So I'll close that tab. Gamma Sutra has a blog, Solo Indie Developers After Steam Direct. Let's see if there's any quotes here or anything. Yeah, it doesn't look like there's much of a quote. Let's see.
We will devour this
Talk.
world.
Looks like mostly this is a rant by a developer just saying, yeah, indies are not going to be treated well now because of the new recommended updates and the new systems that are and everything that's been added to Steam to make it a better. Yeah, this is really just an entire rant about a failed indie developer. Which, yeah, there's going to be winners and there's going to be losers, unfortunately. That's a capitalist society and the execs in the usual. What is this guy going to do? I haven't ever seen this animation. Living bomb. He's going to blow up and do 2 damage to everybody. If I was to guess. Ow. PC Gamer has an article. Denuvo brings legal action against one of its biggest enemies. Updated, it now appeals Revolt founder Voxy is facing criminal charges. So yeah, I mean, what can you really say or do about that? Like, he is probably guilty of hacking Denuvo. I certainly can understand why people would want to hack Denuvo. and get it out of software. But yeah. Yeah, I don't know what you really can say about this story. It's not barely even related to the video game industry. It's like a video game software company, like so many other companies, has turned somebody over to the cyber crimes unit. It probably happens a lot more. If the hacker wasn't famous for what he was doing, it wouldn't be a story at all. Let's see, moving on, Your Gamer has an article, Ninja Theory's remarkable Hellblade Suna's Sacrifice gets full VR support next week. I also saw that performance will slightly be improved because of the update, which is great whenever I get that game. I do want to mention I did the 5-year anniversary update of Rogue Legacy and played it for a little bit and made another episode of that series for whatever that is worth. Not too much really seemed like it changed on the face of it. I think you'd have to really play the whole game from scratch or continue to be playing Rogue Legacy 5 years on to get a lot of experience. And so yeah, let's just spectate this guy and that'll let me focus on just news for a little bit. Yeah, I'm certainly not going to go back to playing Rogue Legacy. Interestingly enough, Rogue Legacy was only about 15 episodes, about an hour long, so if I had done them as 30-minute episodes, it probably would have worked better. I'm closing a lot of things that are just asset flips and not even talking about them because, you know, in all honesty, the act of talking about them is in part the thing that adds a lot of time to it. And, you know, I'm trying to speed things up, so this is just a short 1-hour stream today. Not too many people would have come to a Friday stream anyways, so that's kind of fine. If anything, I should be upset about he's not even playing. Guy's gone AFK apparently. Oh, this is interesting. Your Gamer has an article, Dragon Ball Fighters Z developers talk fan service, bag characters, and the touch of death. Just saying, as in Super Saiyan. This is an interview. Of course, this is Your Gamer doing the interview, so probably the Japanese people they're interviewing are just going to tell them what they want to hear. The funny thing about in this case they're talking fan service in the sense of just including Easter eggs that fans would appreciate, not even, you know, cheesecake fan service, which I guess I should have figured that out because there really wasn't a lot of instances of that I've seen of what I call fan service. Alright, well, let's just move over to the European account, I suppose. Yeah, if they were talking about the cheesecake, you know, fan service, tight clothings on the female characters, which there aren't many, or the male characters for that matter. The Japanese people would just tell them what they want to hear anyways. So yeah, that's an interview. Maybe I'll read that later.
Relax. Take a breath.
I only have 2 things to do. Let's see. There's no indication of when this actually ends. We've got to trade one of these. Who do I want to play as least warrior? Alright, let's go into Priest's game. Okay, so what I want to do... Sure, you just finish the deck automatically. There's a game on Steam that's called Isle of the Sky. It looks like it's a Coscarone ripoff. That's not inherently a bad thought though, because Coscarone is a good game. If that's the name of the game I'm thinking about, it's a tile placing game where however you align the tiles is how you calculate the score at the end of the game. Isle of the Sky is $9.99. I'll put it on the wish list. Keep an eye on it. Eurogamer's got an article. Dutch Dota 2 players can now see what's in a loot box before they buy it. Steam has bent over backwards and done a favor for the Dutch people because of that law, which now I'm sure everybody else is going to get jealous for that. Game of Sutra has an article. The GDC 2019 welcomes 5 new members to the advisory board. So, GDC, the new additions are people who worked on Ratchet and Clank, Slime Ranchers, The Sims, Don't Starve, and many more. And people named are Andreas Fredriksson, Carolyn Krenzer, Nick Popovic, Jamie Cheng, C-H-E-N-G, and Carol Shaw. So I don't know any of these names, frankly, but okay, whatever. I don't think there's any major drama happening with GDC right now that I can think of, so there's no real tinfoil conspiracy I can think about as far as that. GDC is the Game Developers Conference. Inherently, I'm sure it is an instance of it being a pretty biased place where developers come together and talk.
I serve the Fire Lord.
If I had shut that, if I had somehow killed that, would have won.
I don't need any of you.
Closing a lot of news articles that are just from Gamma Sutra, that are just screenshots and little bits of details on games. Those articles, inherently, I've seen so many of them now that it's Gematsu. It's not Gamma Sutra I'm talking about. Come to think of it. But I've seen so many articles like that where they're just showing off a screenshot. At best they have a release date, but half the time they don't. That there's really nothing to say. So I'm trying to close and filter out all of that stuff for today. This is way too laid back, certainly, for my... This feels like how I was when I first started streaming. Just way too laid back. Well, I'm on another account though, so that wouldn't matter. Let's see. Your Gamer has an article. Dark Souls inspired 2D action adventure Salt and Sanctuary comes to Switch this August. August 2nd, that is. I think we probably already had heard that, but I want to cover that. Gosh. Yeah, I just feel like I'm way too slow. I'm just looking at games, and if I don't see anything to say about them, I'm just gonna ignore them. Gamasutra has a blog from consoles to Steam, lessons learned and questions raised from Lightfield. There's a this is the launch and launching the Hyper Edition of the game Lightfield. Gotta end my turn. I keep forgetting. Even the sound effects don't sound right. I don't know what's going on with my hearing. Do I really ever need to mention RPG Maker games that are early access? Like, this one looks like it might be an Indian, Eastern Indian game, Tales of the Mahabharata RPG Maker game. Which, okay, that's something different at least, but it's $4.99 with no discount and early access.
Just a pinch of vigor.
Return. Surely a game like Dude Simulator 2 is just a troll game. Yep. So I don't really need to talk about that. PC Gamer has an article. Rainbow Six Siege cheaters will lose seasonal rank and rewards. Suspended players will not benefit from their illicit activities. I think Rainbow Six Siege is becoming an odd game. Certainly they seem to be getting more and more committed to filtering out the bad players, but I don't think that they particularly have enough good players in the first place.
Let's negotiate. You concede, and I'll let you have it.
Your command, play ball.
Feel my pain. Obey.
I'm just gonna lose. Like, they're saying that they suspended 1,300 people of Rainbow Six Siege. It's kind of ridiculous. Let's go ahead and open this. I guess I'd have something more to say about it if I cared about Rainbow Six Siege though, so let's move on. Let's see. Oh yeah, I'm just so half asleep. So half asleep. I'd take another node those, but I've already done 2 or 3 in less time than you should. I usually use 5-hour energy drink extra strength, but I ran out of that and tried to get it out of my life because I didn't want to be in a position where I was using it, since it works, but it's at a high cost. Let's see. Now we just need to win for real with the priest, I guess. Merlin Paladin is not priest. Combo priest. Casual. Standard. But I bought the Nodos thinking maybe it wouldn't be so harsh. And it's true, it isn't as harsh as 5-hour energy drink X strength, but it doesn't work. PC Gamer has an article. Unity says strange emails sent to developers were caused by human error. We've already started making changes based on both the negative and positive feedback. What were these? The emails range from inappropriate from your ex creepy to more concerning reports about potential EULA violations. They were sent in such a small time frame that some developers began to worry Unity had changed its privacy and user policies without telling anyone. That sounds like a very YouTube thing to do.
Job's done.
Is someone injured?
I'm reading this article. Seems like somebody was trying to have somebody who didn't even really speak English or didn't care about the job. Maybe they were having somebody trained and they were sending out emails inaccurately or something. Seems like just a rogue employee was doing something crazy. Moving on, Gamasutra has an article. Forza Motorsport 7 will not feature loot boxes. Good to hear. I don't think there's really anything else to glean from that article. You can pretty much guess, though, that if it doesn't have loot boxes, it'll try to make its money somewhere else. There's going to be some new scam that comes out. PC Gamer has an article, what it's like to launch an indie game in 2018, hour by hour. This might be an article that I might read later. Let's see.
Pain or suffering, I can't decide.
Here's a game called Just Ride on Steam. It's a racing game with RPG elements. It seems like you're playing as a motorcycle rider. Graphics look relatively good. Not amazingly good, but relatively good. It's English language not supported, $14.99. It's simplified Chinese. Interesting. Okay, that kind of sucks. Because that one actually looked like it might have a chance.
I hope you like my invention.
Mind if I roll knee?
And turn.
Tazdingo! Yeah.
No, how much I have open. Gematsu has an article, Shadow of the Tomb Raider treacherous traversal trailer. Say that 3 times fast. So yeah, you can see her doing her usual thing that she does in the new games, which is frankly not much as far as the transversal and ability. Yeah, I'm not seeing any real new mechanics in that trailer
Is
at
someone
all.
injured?
It's just everything that Rise of the Tomb Raider you could do was the same thing I saw there. PC Gamer has an article. Intel expects systems with 10 nanometer Cannon Lake CPUs to finally arrive in 2019. The 10 nanometer process very possibly won't really be 10 nanometers, as the current process really isn't like that either. But ignoring that for a moment, you do have a factor of these chips getting smaller and smaller and more energy efficient. Speaking of energy efficient, I've been doing some testing with my Samsung Galaxy S7, which is getting close to the point where it's time to replace that, and it has like quick charge version 2, so it can only pull about 1,000 milliamps at most, regardless of what kind of cord or plug you plug into it. Unless you turn off the screen, then it can immediately jump up to 2,000, which seems rather odd. And that's weird because if you've got a broken cord, a bad cord, if you don't have it plugged, a transformer that's giving it much, you can easily have it plugged in and still have the battery draining if the screen is on. At least that's where I am at with it right now. Let's see.
Right away.
Should have just attacked it with this. That would make more sense. PC Gamer has an article. EVE Online developer CCP agrees with an Unreal Engine 4 deal, working on an unannounced MMO. So, the way this is written is crazy, because it should be agreed on a deal with Epic Games, and on is missing. The agreement is that Unreal Engine 4 has been named the exclusive development tool for all CCP games currently unannounced projects. One of these is an action-inspired MMO. This is, I believe, a 4-year deal. It's probably coming with some guarantee of extra support for the Unreal Engine or some other thing that would make a little bit more sense. Seriously? What happened there? Why didn't
Right away.
that work?
Quickly.
Gamasutra has an article. FIFA Mobile's debut in China brings EA its highest grossing day for a mobile game. Good news for EA, I suppose. And that certainly is an example of why people want to get into the Chinese market. There's a lot of chance for profit. Meanwhile, not really related to games, Facebook had a horrible day, which is kind of odd because they only lost 20% There's certainly have been examples at some point, maybe 100 years ago, where entire companies lost 100% of their valuation. But Facebook is a big company, so it's more news than it makes out. Let's see. There's a game on Steam called Sisters in Hotel Episode 3. It's a nudity, sexual content, visual novel. It seems, I would guess. And oddly, the anime girls in this one of them does look young. So that just more makes me wonder what's going on at Steam, why some games are allowed to release and some don't. The animation style is a little soft but pretty good here. It's English only, interesting, and it has 100 Steam achievements and it's 59 cents. And so it probably is a 100% achievement game. This is weird because you usually don't have an achievement game that also is a visual novel, so this is a new direction. I don't know. This is gonna be weird. Certainly. What's weird about this too is that, yeah, it actually looks like a visually appealing game. Now that I've seen that it's an achievement game, I went and looked at the other games this developer's released too, and I have found that it seems like all the Sisters in Hotel 1 and Episode 2 are rated mixed, so they must be like incredibly short. And every single game this developer has put out, which is about 15, is either mixed or negative or not rated. So I almost wonder if this is a stolen game. That might be the case. Let's look at the reviews for the first game, Sisters in Hotel, and see what the complaints are for it. Because it had, first game had 7,140 achievements. Wow, so that's crazy. Let's play this.
Mind if I roll need?
Win. Hey, there's a new quest. Interesting. How could I have 3 quests? I guess I didn't make any progress on any of them yet. I thought I'd gotten something done. I guess not. I have to win with the Hunter Mage too. Oh man. Yeah, the review says this game, here's one negative review. This game is honestly just an achievement farm roll and all the artwork is stolen, as said below in other reviews, just recolors. So yeah, I don't know if the artwork really is stolen or if it's something that could be bought and reused.
For Doomhammer.
The light
But
shall
certainly
bring victory.
that's a new avenue that is going to confuse the market, certainly for me, if we start seeing a lot of visual novels that are actually achievement games and are bad. Let's see. There's a game on Steam called Bonsai Royale. It's a top-down, looks like twin stick shooter game. Online multiplayer only, so I'm never going to play it. Early access, $5.99. It's about as much as I want to talk about it, so...
Is someone injured?
On.
Is someone injured?
Job's done.
remember to end my turn. Gosh. You know, the question does occur to me, maybe sometimes I should just like, play silently. No, because then I'm not really adding anything to it.
Right away. Right away.
And frankly, if I'm not doing my job as a YouTuber and a video game critic, then I might as well just not be playing the games and doing something different. See, I'm just looking at games right now, and if I see anything that seems like it's worth talking about, I'm talking about it. If not, I'm either closing it or leaving it for Monday, which Monday also may be a weird day, certainly, and so I don't know how much streaming I'm going to get done Monday.
Job done.
Either. Let's just try to get some of this down though. Yeah, here's a tower defense game called Aegis M. It looks pretty for a tower defense game. It's early access, it's $12.99. I really don't think I'm ever going to have an interest in playing a tower defense game. Maybe it's not even a tower defense game, it might be a Dota game. No, it's a competitive tower defense mixed with an action shooter. That's what it says, okay.
Right away. Right away.
So yeah, I'm not interested in that. The one thing I couldn't do when I looked at my wish list though is really didn't run into a lot of games that are negatively reviewed. There's a ton of games that aren't reviewed, and so I probably need to do another pass where I sort everything by the release date and just start looking at games that have not been played by anybody and seeing if I want to reevaluate and see if that game is worth playing. Although I certainly could see myself being happy to play a game that hasn't been reviewed by anybody else, because then I might get some more views because of that. I haven't been paying a huge amount of attention, but it doesn't seem like hashtags are really doing anything for my channel. Somebody commented on one of my videos and I didn't get the comment notification, so it took me a little bit longer than I would have liked to respond to that person. So, but I did eventually find it. I imagine that somebody may have commented on one of my videos somewhere and I not see it at all. Rock Paper Shotgun has an article, Steven Universe Save the Light warps on the PC next month. Steven Universe is popular at least amongst a niche group of people, so I could see myself thinking about playing it, but also I could easily make the argument in my head that the Steven Universe is just not a game that has quite as many people as is enough to think that it would get me a lot of views because of that alone.
Right away.
It seems like we're getting several Cartoon Network games released at the same time, because Adventure Time was released just a couple days ago. It's kind of crazy. Like, I don't know why you'd release these at the same time. Also, I don't know why you'd release games for kids as school's just about to start. Is that really the time to start releasing games? I don't know. Eurogamer has an article, For Honor 7th Season Storm and Fury starts next week. This is another instance of For Honor advertising itself more than it should, in my opinion, or getting advertising it really doesn't seem to deserve. But I suppose whatever.
Right away. Right away.
the main issue I take from that is it's really surprising just how far For Honor is in its number of seasons, since it feels like it's a game that's only been out for maybe 2 years. Gamma Sutra has an article. The Detroit developer Quantic Dream loses in court case brought by ex-employee. Let's see. This was an interesting follow-up story for that, and this is a French employment law case. The case itself was filed under a specific French employment law that allows former employees to take companies to court over wrongful termination if they left due to considering themselves a victim of the company's action or culture. With guidance from the French journalists familiar with the law, Your Game has framed it as a notification of termination made by an employee who considered themselves a victim. So this is all being translated from French. Though going the route causes that individual to forfeit their employment rights and salary in exchange for the ability to petition for unfair dismissal. Forfeit their employment rights and salary. What were their employment rights and salary otherwise? Need to win with a mage, probably. Hunter, mage. Do we have anything that would play big cards while I'm doing that, by the way? In this particular instance, the employee's case centers around allegations of toxic workplace culture that were circulated earlier this year by the French publications. By the way, he is also, the company Quantic Dream is also suing those French publications for slander, basically. The individual in the case, I thought it was more than just an individual. I thought it was the entire IT department got fired, was my understanding, for not working anymore. Since the court ruled in the favor of the ex-employee involved in this case, the individual's departure from the company is now to be treated as an unfair dismissal, though Quantic Dream can appeal the decision. So I imagine they're going to appeal the decision, and I wouldn't be surprised if this goes back and forth. Court cases are certainly like that. Let's see. Yeah, we'll have to see if there's any more update here. And there was a Gamma Sutra article that was linking to a Eurogamer article, so now I've clicked on the Eurogamer article to see if maybe I can get some more details. There's certainly a translation barrier here on top of a bias in all the journalists, because certainly all the mainstream video game media was against Quantic Dream for this. Yeah, there doesn't seem like there's really any more news here. Yeah.
I wonder.
Yeah, we'll see where this court case goes, I suppose. And I kind of need to just wrap up and go into a silent post show. Yeah, there's another Big Fish game, hidden object game called Haunted Hall's Revenge of Dr. Blackmore Collector's Edition. Don't need to really talk about that. It's going to be really expensive. Let's see. Here's a side-scrolling shooter that looks alright. It's a space shooter. It says it's a roguelite shoot-'em-up game. Actually, I kind of like the look of this game, Black Paradox, so I'm gonna wishlist it, keep an eye on it. It's early access, 25% off for $8.99. Don't need to talk about that game. See, Rock Paper Shotgun has an article. Unknown pleasures defy the sun's wrath with 5 new unsung games. Unsung games like Rock Paper Shotgun might just be the games you missed. Same thing PC Gamer does. I haven't heard of any of these games. Certainly, but none of them look amazingly great either, so I'll check those out, I guess, later. Let's just keep on playing. PC Gamer has an article. Fallout New York mod shares progress with lovely new screens. So this mod's still in work. Fallout New York, I don't know if you really can do much with New York unless you're doing like upstate New York for the most part and staying out of Manhattan, because Manhattan is such a dense area and it's surrounded by water, so all the water would probably be radioactive. And yeah, I don't know what you do to make that an interesting experience for the Fallout universe. Other than maybe you scale it up and it takes you an hour and a half to walk from one of the thin side, one of the narrow sides of Manhattan to the other side. Then it takes maybe 3 or 4 hours to walk from the long tip to from the tippy top of the long side to the top of the narrow side, or the bottom of the long side. I suppose you could do something like that, yeah. But I still don't know if that helps too much.
Job done.
There's another VR game where you do a job called Burger Van, except for it's not burger with a U, it's burger with a V. $6.99. Not worth playing. Really.
I wonder.
There's this online multiplayer game called Sniper Strike Special Ops. It doesn't look like an asset. Actually looks pretty good. Unfortunately, it is probably a game. It's free to play, and it's a game that I imagine does not have much of a single player element. It does say you can play it single player, but I don't know how much I trust the labeling on Steam. So yeah, there's a game to talk about. According to Gamematsu, God Eater Online to end service on September 27th. I'm not sure God Eater Online was ever started at all in the West, so this is something that's probably mostly only going to affect Japanese people. That's what it seems like it's saying. And I'm just so half asleep. Kind of glad nobody came on the chat, because that wouldn't work. Gamatsu has 20 minutes of SNK Heroines Tag Team Frenzy gameplay. I don't know if I need to really see another 20 minutes or any more gameplay. And anytime you see more than 10 minutes of footage, it's usually in the style like this video, where it's the developers or people promoting the game playing it, and then you're seeing footage over the edge of the screen, so it's not like a full screen view. PC Gamer has an article. Marvel Ultimate Alliance 1 and 2 are the latest licensed games to leave Steam, which is weird because I thought that game had already left and come back on Steam. So yeah, this is interesting. I suppose that they weren't particularly great games, and they didn't run particularly well on PC anyways, but it's a shame to lose them. We'd already lost all the Transformers games and Deadpool. These are all Activision games. Need to play things that cost $5 or more. I don't know if I even have something that's designed to do that. Yeah, I don't think there's a deck here that even is designed to do that. But yeah, it kind of sucks. Let's see, what game is this? There's a game called Archangel, the House of the Seven Stars.
For Doomhammer.
It seems like it might be an older game, but no. It seems like it might just be a AA game. Animation style doesn't look great, but looks good enough. Says it's an adventure indie gore violent game. Looking at trailers, looking at very varied environment that looks like it was handmade for the most part and not just asset flips. Yeah, and it seems like you walk around and you're trying to solve an adventure. Let's see. Well, Archangel House of the Seven Stars is $14.99. I'm gonna wishlist it to keep an eye on it. It looks like a real game, which is now the low standard that we're holding names to. Looking at a game called Grid Gunner. It's a very zoomed out, pixely graphics looking game. It's half shooting bullet hell game and half racing apparently. Interesting idea, but I don't think I'm sold on it at all. Yeah, the graphics just don't look enough to interest me. We've got another, what looks like visual novel, Guilty Summer Kiss 2 Bloody Secret, tag nudity, sexual content, anime, casual indie. Honestly, it looks like it's a Western animator because it's not up to that level. It's tagged with English, Russian, German, Chinese, Portuguese, so it's certainly going for a wide market, but the language I didn't see there was Japanese. Japanese was at the bottom, which they need to sort that, certainly. This is an interesting trailer because it's showing these anime girls in rather nude or close to nude pictures on Steam, and so again the question is why was Guilty Summer Kiss 2 allowed on Steam and others were held back? Like, there's a almost 100% nude lady in the first trailer. Like, the trailer goes for 2 characters in their underwear to 1 character in her underwear topless with X tape over her breasts.
I wonder.
Yeah, this doesn't really look like a game worth playing though. See, I'm looking at the other games that they developed. Let's look at the first game in the Guilty Summer Kiss series, and it is 18% positive of 11 users, which that is amazingly And was this an achievement game? It has 19 achievements at $6.99. Let's see what the reviews say. It says there's no real story of any kind, and you either fail and restart, or start dating one and restart. Either way, it takes about 2 minutes. This game is extremely lacking substance, and I highly discourage anyone from buying this. So yeah, interesting.
I wonder.
Let's play this.
You're crazy. You're crazy.
Not getting anywhere. Next game we have on Steam is called My Russian Trip. It too looks like a Western JRPG, no, not JRPG, just anime visual novel. Let's see what languages this one is in. English and Russian. Interesting. So the animation style is particularly worse in this game. It's 30% off for $4.89. I don't think so. And see if they've developed anything else that would be even worth mentioning. No, I think this is just kind of a guide, just a releaser of games that tries but doesn't ever really do that well. The other anime visual novel looking game they have is called Football Girls Dream Team. It's 45% positive of 24 user reviews in the last 30 days. And it's just a match 3 game
Midsummer Fire Festival,
where their clothes fall off when you make matches. Or so moving on. Well, I'm not making a lot of progress here, so let's switch over to the Americas account. I'm not going to break up the recordings. I'm just going to do one video. People who watch these videos when they're pre-recorded are going to suffer pretty much through this. And me just barely talking. Rock Paper Shotgun has an article, Vampire improves performance in its latest patch. Will add a story difficulty level next
Where have your journeys taken you?
next time it patches, which okay. Let's see. Let's come over here. Let's re-roll this. Shaman and Warlock class cards. I think I can do that at least on this deck. Let's see. Classic Warlock. Might as well play ranked. Moving on. You know, I don't even think I'll do a post-show, silent post-show, frankly. I may just take it easy and play without streaming.
Watch your...
There's a game called Post-Human Sanctuary on Steam. I like the comic book art style and the cutscenes at least. It says it's early access and early access with gore and violent. And I don't know why they started adding early access. It looks like it's a turn-based RPG game of some sort. It has an interesting mechanic in which the screen folds in between, so there's a larger distance between you and the enemy. Let's see. It seems like there's a building mechanic and a tile placing game. Well, this game is early access for $15.99, Post-Human Sanctuary, and I think I kind of want to wishlist it just to keep an eye on it. It might be an amazingly new twist on surviving the zombie apocalypse. We've got a VR game called Synth Ninja. I don't think you really need to say it is literally Blade Saber, except for you're throwing ninja stars. They early access 15% off for $4.24. Don't really need to talk about this. Ubermosh Sancticide is out, this is weird. I keep getting recommended this game Ubermosh by Steam, and it always just looks like it's gonna be a crazy top-down shooter game that's just hard to keep your eyes and focus, and it's gonna kill my fingers if I try to play it. So I've seen the Ubermosh series a lot, and I always just reject it. But this new one, Ubermosh Sancticide, is 10% off for $2.69, and you can get the entire bundle of games for $9.99. I guess that's all I really have to say there. Let's go ahead and play this.
Sucks, steel swine.
Job done.
Your Gamer has an article, HTC Vive hits back following VR's dying claims. Apparently. They don't think it's dying. I don't think it's dying, I think it's just plateaued. I think the people that have it will still have it. Gamasutra has a weekly jobs roundup. Engine programmer for Defiant Studios in New York, New York. 3D tool software engineer for Baidu USA in Sunnyvale, California. Senior programmer for Disbelief in Cambridge, Massachusetts. Technical artist for Roblox in San Mateo, California. Community manager for Rockstar Games in New York, New York. I know I covered at least one of those games already. Let's
Don't mess with us. Sucks, steel swine. wide.
This game is not in English. Yep, this is a Chinese only game, so I don't have to talk about that. The Binding of Isaac card game, The Four Souls, has raised, I believe what this article from GameIndustry.biz is saying, is they've raised $2.65 million, reaching over 5,000% its goal. That's because if you supported it, you were getting exclusive cards in this card game. Binding of Isaac, a very, very popular game, despite whether or not you like the artistic style or not, and twisting all the items into a card game mechanic is an interesting thought, certainly. Unfortunately, I don't think I'd ever find too many people that would be willing to play it with me, so like I wasn't interested in that. Let's see.
Watch your back.
Your soul shall
PC
be
Gamer has an
mine.
article, Ni no Kuni 2 free DLC adds new bosses and quests due at August 9th. Let's see, I'm trying to play Warlock cards, so let's only keep Warlock cards. More DLC packs are due this winter and earlier next year. Let's see. What kind of game is this? Mobile port looking game called Jolly Battle. Looks like Candy Crush. Honestly, it may not even be Candy Crush. It might be more along the lines of a
Why do you call?
What is that? Battleship. Might be something like Battleship. Yeah, I don't see anything that would interest me in playing Jolly Battle. It's 40% off for $1.79. For that price, it looks like a cell phone port. It's probably not too expensive at that price, though. Boy, was I misreading the name of this game. I thought it was called Bomberman, and I'm like, oh, is there a new Bomberman game? No, the game is called Boobserman. B-O-O-B-S-E-R-M-A-N. And it seems you are like a window washer who is placing bombs on a billboard, and the bombs are blowing away clothing on anime girls that in small portions, so you're kind of doing this frantically paced thing, trying to reveal underwear and perhaps more. Probably have to go in a couple different layers if it shows anything more. It says it's an adventure indie single player anime nudity as far as the tags. And all the screenshots are basically the exact same screen. So this is one of those games where they bought or stole a collection of anime girls, and half the time when there's a game like this, they don't even match the same art style. I don't know how you can really complain about this though, because they literally, Capcom made a Bomberman game with anime girls and explosive clothing, so this is just somebody doing the same thing Capcom did. But yeah, this game doesn't look like it's worth anything. 30% off for $4.19. Seems like there's only 5 girls in the first place. maybe they're in different poses or something, but I wouldn't be surprised if there really isn't. Any
We must
very
cleanse the
easily
sun
could
well.
be a like less than 2 minutes type thing.
I'll give it a shot.
Job's done.
Let's see. Yeah, and this is the only game by this developer. Interesting. Let's see. Oh, GameIndustry.biz has an interesting article, and I didn't realize what it was saying until now. And like I've said, I've been half asleep, if you can't tell. The Escapist relaunches with a no politics pledge. Enthusiast Gaming acquires publication, reappoints former EIC Roos Pitts. Let's see if I'm gonna make this text. So the Escapist was a mainstream video game media site that arguably was a little bit indie in its first
Push forward.
bit. It was this collection of Jim Sterling and Movie Bob, so it wasn't just video games,
Job's done.
and Cynical Brit Cynical Brit was Total Biscuit's name. Yes, he may have actually been a part of the Escapist at one point too. Fully Ramblomatic is his name, but I Zero Punctuation. Is that his name? There was a guy that talks, a British guy. For the most part, like everybody that worked at the Escapist was British, and then it kind of fell apart. Let me just read the article here. Fell apart. Jim Sterling got fired. Everybody got fired. It wasn't getting enough views. The Escapist was originally launched in 2005, so 13 years later. It was the lead. Let's see. So, Roos Pitts originally launched it in 2005. He led the place for 5 years, and then he Roos Pitts led the site mid-2009 to 2011. When at 2011 he departed to help launch Polygon.
So
Polygon, we know, is full of
must cleanse the sun well.
very political SJWs. So he went on to form something extremely political, so I don't know how they're relaunching with a no politics bent. It seems like that's not going to work at all for them. I don't think they can do that.
I'll give it a shot. I'll give it a shot.
Let's keep on playing. So it's a full reboot. Let's see. For the Escapists, because everybody was fired. Let's see. Escapist is now part of the company that owns EGLIX in Toronto. I've never heard of that. And Destructoid. I mean, frankly, it's all 2 or 3 companies at this point. that own all the mainstream video game media sites. I could have won that turn. He put out a Medium post reflecting on his return to the Escapist. He also stated it's not going to be what it was before. Quote, "One thing I can tell you without delay or equivocation, we're leaving politics at the door. Most of us have thoughts about politics just like most of you, and because we're creators, those thoughts might show up in our work. Avoiding that would be unnatural. That said, I can promise you no one here will share their politics in an attempt to convince you that you are wrong, and your worth will not be calculated based on whether or not you're on the left or right. Politics are everywhere, but they don't have to be everything. We're going to focus on what's fun, and we hope you'll join us in that." I imagine this is probably a very good way to relaunch Escapist, but also I think Escapist certainly fell apart because of politics too. Let's just keep on playing. Let's see. Update. Pitts issued the following series of tweets responding to criticism and noting that leaving politics at the door did not mean apolitical, he put it. Escapist quote, "Escapist magazine will certainly address topics that have political connections. We'll definitely not do so in a way that is intentionally exacerbates a culture war. And yes, that's going to be a fine needle to thread." Frankly, though, it's kind of amazing, though, that you're even going to go this far. It is kind of amazing for how extremely left-leaning the rest of the video games media is. I wouldn't be surprised if you start hearing stories from other people complaining about it. But I'm noticing that in general, a lot of people just are logging off of Twitter. And certainly with like James Gunn being fired, a lot of people are deleting old tweets and such. Let's see. There's a comment here from Alfonso Sexto, the lead tester for Ubisoft Germany, from 14 hours ago. It says, "I understand this decision. Their attempts to become a kind of home for Gamergate at the beginning of the controversy by leaning towards their side didn't go well for them." So I would really have to Google it, I guess, and let's see if we could see what Wikipedia even says.
I wonder.
Let's see.
One shot,
Let's see, the Escapist magazine is what they call themselves.
Speak your peace.
The Escapist website. Let's see. Try to see if there's something I can get from this.
I wonder.
Trying to look to see what Wikipedia would say. Let's keep on playing.
I'll give it a shot.
Yeah, 0 punctuation and judging by the cover apparently are the only things. I didn't even know judging by the cover. I guess, which is also made by 0 punctuation by Ben Yahtzee Croshaw, he's kind of irrelevant too. I watch him on his YouTube channel and he posts things like several weeks late on that, but like everybody at Escapist lost their relevance at the height of when they very possibly would have had it. There's a whole list of games and things canceled here. The Gymquisition being one of them. Of course, that's falling apart too. Not really doing anything. Let's play.
My
this.
shield for Argus.
I'll give it a shot.
Keep on playing. Like, this is really the worst story. Worst story too. Around the end of July 2011, there was a dispute between the Escapists and the team that provided content for the show Extra Credits. After not being paid for months, the Extra Credit team needed to pay for surgery for their artists. They began a charity fund separate from the Escapists and received substantially more money than was necessary. They plan to use extra money to create a game publishing label. The revenue would go directly to fund it. Escapists stated the money should have been used to create more episodes of Extra Credits for the Escapists and to compensate Themis Media for donation incentives such as premium memberships and t-shirts. As a result, Extra Credits broke ties with the Escapists, and the show has since aired on Penny Arcade and Screw Attack. Two more irrelevant things. Like, there's so much of this video game culture that I was into that was going on. It was a great time before it all fell apart, and it wasn't all Gamergate either. It started falling apart before then. Yeah, on the website though, there's not like any controversies or anything listed, so and the weird thing is, I was thinking they were talking about the Escapists video game. Let's see.
I wonder.
Yeah, I don't even know if I want to go further down this road, frankly. Who cares? Who cares? Yeah, Escapist seems like it's gonna come back, and maybe it will be good. Maybe it won't. Like, I doubt it's good, though. I just don't think there's a lot of room for that, and I think that name is tainted. And I don't think it's tainted for Gamergate reasons. I think it's tainted for other reasons. Kind of want to see like what Polygon has to say with this. But I don't even think I can.
Put this apple on your head.
The frost wolves stand ready.
Yeah. I suppose the thing that's the scariest there is the idea that apparently you can potentially severely hurt yourself by not agreeing to the groupthink of the video game mainstream media. And there shouldn't be a level of power there. Like, it shouldn't be possible that because you're not agreeing with the people at Giant Bomb or the people at Polygon or whatever company, that somebody at Giant Bomb or Polygon could influence the video game creators so that they stop giving you free games to review copies, or you're influencing your advertisers to not advertise at your site, or you're influencing viewers to not go to your site. I'm not sure any of that really happened, but it certainly seems like it was a problem. I think inherently there was some things, and almost certainly next week at the Jimquisition, Jim Sterling will have something to say about it. I need to move on though and just wrap up the stream. PC Gamer has an article, No Man's Sky gets a wave of positive Steam reviews and it's half price for a limited time. Good for it, I suppose. I still don't really want to play No Man's Sky. Interestingly enough, all of the Giant Bomb East people seemed like that they jumped back into it, and that seems a little crazy. But I guess it's also been a pretty slow week, so if you have to play something new, that's probably the one thing to play. Yeah, I guess that makes sense. Here's a game called Mosaics Galore on Steam. It's just little tile puzzles. I guess those are mosaic puzzles. Gematsu has an article, Senran and Kagura new title presentation 2018 set for August 2nd. So they're going to announce yet another Senran and Kagura game in that series of anime ninja girls doing something. They seem to be pretty varied in what they're doing. That's an announcement for an announcement, so not really any news there. I'm seeing more of these platforming games that look like they're pretty low effort games. Just platforming with tons of collectibles and coins, look like they might be mobile phone ports. Yeah, so yeah, I'm looking at one called Forest Rabbit. It doesn't look interesting really. It's 25% off for $1.49. It wouldn't be bad if you were giving it to a young kid, I imagine, but you could probably do better. GameIndustry.biz has an article, Microsoft invests $500,000 in coding and tech training for students of color, and they spelled color C-O-L-O-U-R, so I guess I know they're British now, or using the British spelling.
I don't have enough mana.
It's one of the funny things I'm watching people play Countdown, which is a word/numbers game, and sometimes they'll spell something the British way and then they won't be able to spell it. They'll be disallowed to spell it the United States way. The subtitle in this article is Firm Support Will Open Seattle Chapter for Black Girls Code and Boost Technology Access Foundation's STEM program. Okay. Good for Microsoft. They've got a lot of money. They can certainly spend it to make sure that they maybe have some programmers that are capable of programming all the things that they need to maintain. Rock Paper Shotgun has an article, Witchy Summer Visual Novel / Adventure Camp W is out now. This animation style looks very much like a Cartoon Network type animation style, kind of flat. I don't know if you really can say Cartoon Network type animation style, because apparently that link is already open. But yeah, I think I'll wishlist that game.
My shield for Argon.
Put this apple on your head.
Let's see, what's this game? Deplau, D-P-L-A-U, VR based, stands in one place and shoot things with your hands and cast magic spells. It looks very bad, this game, Deplau. Otherwise, the concept's not bad. I could see it working pretty well if the animation was better, but as it stands, I don't think so. Deplau is $4.99. It's 6 o'clock. Ever since I got these bright light bulbs, it feels like it is midnight outside. I may just need to remove some of the bulbs and dim my own room. Let's see. I'm looking at a game on Steam called Fractal Chicken, and I hate the 3D animation graphics.
So many possibilities.
It's $14.99 early access, and it's just so ugly looking. I'm not gonna go any further with it than that.
We must cleanse the Sunwell.
Gamer Sutra has an article, Get a Job. Insomnia Games is hiring a director of design for Burbank, California. I think we already talked about that. I watched a YouTube video talking about how you should just apply honestly to jobs that you don't meet the qualifications for. Just to see, you know, people might get desperate. I think I've already talked about that, but yeah, you should totally. If you're close, if you're nowhere close, and it's going to get you remembered as the guy who tried to apply to be the CEO when he's never worked a day in his life, that's not what you should do. But if you've recently graduated or are about to graduate from college as a programmer and you're applying to a place that wants 5 years of programming experience, I think you can apply to that. 10 years is pushing it, but heck, apply anyways. The years are negotiable. The skills are the things that aren't less. See, PC Gamer has an article, Fractured Lands, the Mad Max Battle Royale game, races into early access next week. I've noticed PC Gamer and Rock Paper Shotgun do this a lot, where they make titles that reference another game for search engine optimization. Let's see, Fractured Lands apparently it is not on Steam, and I'll watch the trailer, I guess. Yeah, it kind of looks cool. Unfortunately, the Mad Max style also boils down to being described as a dark brownish art style with no color, and that's no good. Gamma Sutra has an article, Arizona Sunshine developer Vertigo Games launches a VR publishing company. Apparently they are going to be publishing games. I don't really need to read any more of the article than that. Yeah. Gamer Sutra has an article. BAFTA appoints Dr. Joe Twist as chair of Games Committee. Chair of Games Committee. Let's see. Twist is a long-standing member of the committee and has also served on the Learning and New Talent Committee. So she's best known for her work as the CEO of the UK trade body, UKIE. So yeah, that's kind of a non-story because I don't know who she is and she's not really a relevant name. She's too high up. Let's see. Rock Paper Shotgun has an article. The action JRPG Ys Memories of Sita is out on PC today. This is probably an older article, frankly. How did I end up on my own YouTube page?
I wonder.
My shield for Argus.
Job's done.
Yes, here's Camp W out. Indie adventure casual visual novel 2D. It has a flat, you know, it's that Home for Imaginary Friends style of animation. I like that cartoon. I thought it was very well, smartly written for the few episodes I watched. So yeah, Camp W looks like a very interesting game, so I'll put that on my wish list. GameIndustry.biz has an article. Studio Pixelpunk quote colon getting diversity right means going beyond good intentions.
We must cleanse the
At the big festival, BIG Festival, the Brazilian indie developer explained the importance of the subtlety and study of in moving past LGBT stereotypes. Let's see, I'm gonna just scan this article. Here's a quote. People have good intentions to bring in diversity in the games, but it's not always successful.
Put this apple on your head.
My shield for Argus.
They're using an example here of adding Hanley Abrams in Mass Effect Andromeda, where they wrote a transgendered character, and it showed a lack of understanding of trans people in general. I'm not sure, honestly, if you got 100 trans people in the same room and asked them opinions on how they see themselves, if you're going to get a really solid description anyways. Frankly, it's kind of inherently going to follow the stereotypes. Video games in particular, like you're making a character, they usually are very bland, generic stereotypes intentionally so the player can put themselves into
well
it.
Played.
You shinies.
Another quote, we want to make characters for people who don't always feel connected to games on a personal level. Slowly getting the daily quest done. Yeah, so there's a whole article here. It seems to be mostly focused around transgendered people. Whatever, you know.
Gul'dan versus Valera.
I want a good story. If they can do it, that's
soul
good,
shall be
fine. If they
mine.
can't, they shouldn't try. They shouldn't be forced to do things. And inherently, when you go with anything slightly political, you're gonna irritate most people in the world. So you're probably better off not going that route. Like,
Why do you call?
GameIndustry.biz has another article. Mid-boss picks up the pieces after the employee abuse scandal. The interim CEO and creative director discusses trying to save the 2064 read-only memory story after the founder was accused of sexual harassment and employee mistreatment. Which, if it's anything like Channel Awesome, I imagine the company could just go silent long enough and move forward. This is another article where I'm just scanning and trying not to get into a rant. Frankly, I'm too tired. I'm waking up more, but I don't have any energy there, so I'm in this weird perpetual state of, yeah, I'm probably not gonna fall asleep, but also I'm not gonna get real chatty either. See, one of the things that gets me is the idea of paying people differently or having them negotiate prices for their work. I would be like, at a certain level, you're all getting the same pay. That solves so many issues and problems that could come up. And if you're just paying everybody at the same level the same amount, that's crazy. Here's a quote. The person in question, Matt Kahn, still owns 40% of Mid-Boss, down from 80% before the scandal. I guess that's all you really need to know.
My shield for Argus.
I remember that game 2064 read-only memories. Didn't look like it was an amazingly fun game. If I get down to the point where I'm not covering or talking about any game because there's some kind of scandal around it, I'm gonna have very few games to talk about eventually. So, like, there's no reason I would see, from what I know, to not play the game. There's definitely a difference in my head about people who attack video game critics on YouTube and do DMCA them and do takedowns and stuff. Them not covering their games because of their previous shown behavior versus covering a game that is created by somebody who was embroiled in the scandal.
We must cleanse the
And
sunlight.
honestly, as a critic, I generally speaking would not make the distinction of funding somebody. Like, if I make a game, if I buy a game from somebody who's going to take that money and give it to some organization like the Ku Klux Klan, it's not really something I'm going to worry about, because inherently, if I gave money to a homeless person on the street, they could give it to the Ku Klux Klan. If I give money to a restaurant chain, they could be giving it to the Ku Klux Klan. Once the money leaves my hands, my relationship with it is over. So, yeah. Even if I know that that is going to happen, it's not something I'm going to bother with. I keep winning. That's something, I suppose. Gamatsu has an article. RPG Maker MV for PS4, Xbox One, and Switch launches November 15th in Japan. They will launch
Welcome.
for the PS4, Xbox One, and Switch in 2019 in North America and Europe. Let's see. Still got games to look at.
Why do you call?
Into the breach.
Here's a non-RPG Maker RPG. Kind of looks like Adventure Town, the game I play on my cell phone for no reason. Just because I've been playing it forever. It's like a tile-based town management thing. Yeah, I don't really like the way this works, honestly. It's early access, $14.99, and it seems like you're just going from tile to tile, and every tile is barely populated with anything. So yeah, Fantasy Raiders, not a game that interests me. We've got a game here called Silent Footsteps that's a point-and-click adventure game using real photos, which is an interesting idea. It's like a half step between full motion video and others. I could imagine I could make a game like that, because then I don't have to have any artists. I just would have to write it.
For Doomhammer, your soul.
There's a game on Steam called Mortar Howl, where you play as a mortar cannon shooting. It looks pretty good, actually. It's 10% off for $2.62, but you do have to realize it's not much of a game. Really, you're just in a somewhat 3D environment, targeting posts and points, trying to hit things. It would be very interesting as a mini game inside of other games. There's plenty of first-person shooters where it would make sense to have a mission or two where you're playing a mortar, but alone it's probably not worth the $2.69 it's selling for right now with 10% off. So I'm not going to wishlist it, but I did want to mention it. We've got this surreal game called the 7 Stages, where you play the 7 stages of life, and you're looking around trying to find a surreal way to escape. It's 10% off for $10.79. So the example here is that it's an escape room, and you're playing as a baby, you're in this baby pen, and you have to find a way to escape through a magic poster on the wall, magic mirror basically, and then it takes you to the next section. And then the next section is solving different puzzles in a different area. So it's an interesting looking game, and just for the craziness. Early access, it's too expensive at $10.79, though I'll keep a list on. GameIndustry.biz has an article. Nicholas Devils, Dragons and Details, founder and president Tyrone Rodriguez on his 10-year journey from indie to mid-sized publisher. This is the company Nicholas that published It'll Do, and The End Is Nigh, and possibly some other things. It's kind of interesting that they're describing him as a mid-range publisher, but I guess there really isn't a lot of mid-range publishers, so he probably is. Let's see. There's a puzzle game on Steam called Color Party, where you're dragging around portraits of side profile heads that are different colors and patterns, and you have to put all the tiles next to other tiles that share at least one color to solve the puzzle, which is an interesting idea. It's 20% off for 79 cents, so the price is right. So I'm gonna wishlist Color Party. Let's see, we got somebody on the chat who just put ZZ and has a Chinese name, so yeah,
So many.
I don't know if he's referencing the fact that I'm falling asleep, which he's right. If he's saying I'm boring, he's right. So regardless of what he means by that, I agree. Apologies. Next game we have on Steam is called Liminal, Liminal. It's an early access puzzle adventure game. The perspective changes every time you walk through a door, and apparently that's going to play a role. Seems like you're walking through crazy forest. It's an interesting looking enough trailer to give it a try. It's also free, so I'll wishlist that game. A lot of these articles are covering games that I didn't cover on Wednesday and should have. I did certainly go through a lot of games and filter it down to things that are just worth talking about. This game called Demo, D-E-E-M-O, Reborn, has new songs in addition to 200 plus songs from the original game, according to Gematsu. It's gonna be out for the PlayStation 4 in 2019. It's gonna be at the Tokyo Game Show, so I'm not sure if this is coming to the West or not. So we'll have to see. Idle Fantasy Star Saga has been announced for smartphones, iOS and Android devices in 2018. It will launch for Japan. Looks like another smartphone style games. Inherently, I don't want to lose the Japanese audience to cell phone games, but on the other hand, I think we might grow a larger Japanese video game audience with cell phone games. So I'm hoping it's growing the audience and not losing the audience. PC Gamer has an article: the designers of Dishonored, Bioshock, and Deus Ex swap stories about making PC's most complex games. This was an article I think I've already mentioned, but I was going to read it, and I didn't. And PC Gamer has an article: Fortnite developer Epic Games thought to be worth $8 billion. Okay. Not much to say there. There's an SNK 40th anniversary collection for the Chrysalis trailer, which was a game that came out in 1990 for the NES according to the trailer. And I'm skipping through all of it basically, and it's either playing. Yeah, it's not really even showing much gameplay because they know these games are not much. They haven't been updated. This is hardly a reboot or anything like that. See, PC Gamer has an article: owning a nightclub in GTA Online is fun, but keeping it successful is a little boring. This is a new update to GTA Online. I see no reason why anybody would want to play GTA Online, frankly. If you're going to do that, why not just play World of Warcraft? There'd be more people. TechRaptor has an article: simple survival, fighting vigor's inherent indolence. I don't know what indolence means. Seems like this game, Vigor, is just a standard first-person shooter. And it's coming out next year, so maybe there's something more. We already talked about Ye's Memory of Celestia, or Celceta. It's 91% positive with 36 user reviews, so that's something, certainly. But I think all the Yi series is pretty good quality, or at least moderately good quality. There's a game called War Tech Fighters on Steam. It's an action mech sci-fi indie robots game. Yeah, I'm not sure I'd want to play this over one of the Gundam games, but it is mostly positive. It is only single player, so that tells me something. And I probably should play a mech game. I haven't done that yet on my channel. War Tech Fighters is 50% off for $7.49. I'll keep an eye on it. I'll wishlist it, but it'll be hard. We've got a game called Dansei Macabre Thin Ice Collector's Edition, another hidden object game from Big Fish Games, for $12.99 as usual. Just need to play a couple more Warlock cards. We've got a game called Revoke, which is a violent action indie game, according to this. Looks like it might be a VR game. Early access, yes, requires VR. 10% off for $17.99. For a VR game, it's a little bit expensive for a lot better graphics than you usually get. It's still, for the most part, standing or treadmilling or walking, very little to shoot, dual gun shooting. Doesn't look terrible though. If you have a VR thing, I think Revoke might be one to look at least. If you don't have VR, I would say get VR for it. Let's see. Gamatsu has an article, Immortal Unchained story trailer. Let's see what this trailer is. It's coming out for the PS4, Xbox One, and PC in September 7th. And September is certainly creeping up on me.
So many possibilities.
Slowly but surely. Well, this game looks good in the trailer, so I will, let's see, find Steam link. Here it is. And wishlist this game and keep an eye on it.
One shot, one kill.
Let's see. Point and click adventure game Iron Curtain has been announced for the PS4, Xbox One, Switch, and PC. According to Gamatsu, you can go over to the Steam page. It's an interesting looking game, well enough to kind of deserve being wishlisted, I think. Just to keep an eye on it. It's from, let's see, what else has this developer made?
My shield for Argus.
Well, this developer has made things, but none of which are great things. They have over 64 results, which means 6 pages of games. yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I'll keep an eye on this Iron Curtain game, but also there's some weirdness there. Got an email from Humble Bundle saying I had one more day to subscribe to the monthly thing. EA Origin on the House program has been sneakily canceled, by the way. They were basically giving you the same games, and they'd run out of games from best I can tell. I heard. So it's kind of not surprising that they just canceled it, but
I'm fast and furious.
Origin, the on the house part was part of what Origin was trying. They were trying to make Origin more popular on that. And now that they've suckered you into installing and using Origin, they're reducing what they're giving you.
That job's done. A turn to get ready.
Let's see. Alright, so now I'm back on Twitter. Am I gonna scroll down?
I'm fast.
Yeah, PC Gamer Feed has the article. Origin's free game program on the house has been retired. They're a little slow on it. I guess EA was taking their time to confirm it. I heard it from, I think, Reddit. So anything you get from Reddit tends to be a little bit earlier. Right, so I'm scrolling down my Twitter feed and seeing if there's any other news to talk about, and then we're going to end this stream. I know that there will be some things I'll have to do off screen, but I don't think it's actually even going to be too bad. And I'll definitely get everything done today. Maybe I won't get any victories on any of the tavern brawls, but that doesn't really bother me. If they were going to give us something amazingly interesting for winning, like a new hero or something, they would have told us that. They wouldn't have just had us play. Yeah. And so I've already scrolled down to I think the point where I'm not going to see any new news anyways. Yeah, I'm just seeing old news. Strange, I've been streaming for 2.5 hours now. Certainly not a full 3-hour stream, but I think I've kind of got it. Alright, let's do all this. Play this.
Don't mess with customers.
Check here. Here. PC Gamer has this article: sex your enemies and take a mech for a joyride in Heaven Will Be Mine. Let's see. This is a weird title.
Rush the enemy! Defend Gilneas!
I think just a visual novel. Well, I don't know. Looks like this is a very positively reviewed game for a visual novel, so I'll wishlist Heaven Will Be Mine and keep an eye on it. Think about it some more. And so that just kind of leaves me with few articles that I probably won't read and I need to close by Monday.
We must cleanse the Sunwell.
Kinda nothing else.
Sever my wrath!
And nothing else I need to really deal with.
Why do you fall?
Let's see. Do I have anything else to even really talk about? No, I don't think so, so... I'm trying to drain my own life or win the game or do something. And after this game we'll be done with the stream. Apologies, hopefully by Monday. Actually, hopefully I need it to happen by tomorrow. I'll be on a better sleep schedule. At least I can find, or hopefully I'll find some section in which I sleep for 8 hours and then I am awake for at least 8 hours. So yeah, I needed 2 game wins with the shaman. I'll do that still. And then several other things. So yeah, again, apologies for bad streams. That's gonna be it for this stream. I'll get everything done off screen. We got all the news done at least. As always, I ask you to like, share, subscribe, comment, and watch every second of my videos. If you want to friend or follow me on any social media sites, there's a whole bunch of links down below in the description box. And if you want to support me, friend me on Steam, gift me a game. Thank you for watching. Have a good evening.